Okay, you guys, today is one of my favorite types of podcasts because we just get to talk pop culture with people that love pop culture, and I get to potentially point you in the direction of a podcast that you will love. Now, the podcast is called Causing a Scene with Sarah and Natalie. It's with Podcast One. I was lucky enough to be a guest on their podcast a couple of weeks ago, and I had the best time, but they also have the best guests. Yeah, I mean, they just had Danny Pellegrino. I mean, they have all of your favorites. They talk about all of your favorite things, and they are here on a great day because we have Real Housewives of Beverly Hills that just premiered. We have the Kardashians in full swing. Do not give me a dirty look when I say the Kardashians. You got to talk about them. We have the Britney Spears book. I mean, there is so much happening in pop culture. So let's get into this with the two hosts of Causing a Scene, Sara Gretzky and Natalie Buck. Thank you so much for being here.
Oh my God. Like, do you want to get married?
Like, thank you so much for that introduction. Wow.
I said I was going to ask this when I talked to you guys on your show, and which went way too fast. How do you guys, what's the relationship between you guys? What's the relationship, and how did it get to the point where we should start a podcast?
Well, Sarah,
you don't even know, do you?
No,
you don't
I'll
even, you're like, I don't know how it started.
No, I honestly, we've never met. We grew up vacationing at the same place. So we kind of, Natalie's younger than I am. So I was always probably like a little too cool to hang out with her and like my younger sister, you know?
Wow. Okay.
But then as our age gap didn't get as weird, like 20 and 27, you know, or 20. As we got closer, she actually knew my now husband's family. She moved to New York, so when I would go to New York, we would catch up. You know, I feel like as we got older, we connected. You know,
yeah, it was perfect.
More.
Yeah, we connected more. It like Sarah was the 16-year-old like drinking and like
I tell the story.
But by the way, it does feel like, Sarah, that you potentially picked on Natalie a little bit. It feels like that just even from that description.
Welcome to this show, Ryan. It's like I'm the little sidekick. Sarah's my mommy.
Mommy.
It's everything.
Well, if I could break this podcast up by the end of this podcast, that would be truly, this is going to be a war. This is going to be like Courtney and Kim this season on the Kardashians by the end of this.
We're absolutely nothing. We are nothing like that, I will say.
No.
We, during, you know, we don't like to say the C word, but during 2020, Natalie had a podcast idea, and I said, why not? Why not? We were all in dark places. The world
I'm at the end of my rope. Why not do a podcast?
Why not?
Well, the only thing people were doing was watching TV and watching movies. So,
and by the way, isn't it funny that we now think of those as the good old days? Remember when we just watched Tiger King for like 8 hours straight?
No, like low key, please bring me back to that for like 1 month.
Well, okay, I know this is dark, but do you guys ever think about how you would reuse that time in a positive way instead of just eating cheese and drinking wine?
I would stop drinking. I would not eat as much, and I wouldn't smoke a cigarette in my mom's bathroom. That was the end of everything.
Oh.
Yeah.
Wow.
Oh yeah.
Wow.
I don't even think it was crazy. I like turned into like a little bit of an alcoholic like during COVID. I think everybody did.
Oh my God. I had MSNBC on the whole time, and I would wake up at 3 a.m. and I would be like, time for a glass of Pinot Grigio. Like, and I had like this mini fridge in my room, and it was so sad. Like and then I'd be like, time to eat brie, and brie with nothing, just the brie. Just like, like a sandwich. Like I would use the crusty stuff. It's great. No, it was a dark time.
No, and the darkest part about it was I'm watching Real Housewives film. I'm watching Orange County film via Zoom. Like, no.
Remember the Vanderpump Rules reunion when it was Zoom and Jax and Britney were like you
what
come at me, Charlie.
Like that was Stassi, Jax. That was all of their last hurrah. Like, what a way to go.
I mean, it did truly feel like everything was ending, even if you went through like pop culture. And I was like, wow, we now have to get used to everything being on Zoom. Watch What Happens Live was being on Zoom, which, by the way, did one of you guys just go to a taping of Watch What Happens Live?
I did. I went, and Jax and Taylor and Green from Southern Charm. They were the guest, and what a wacky place. I loved it.
I know. I got to go for my first time a couple weeks ago.
Yeah.
And I felt like the hallowed halls, because I genuinely watch What Happens Live every night.
Yeah.
So it was like a hallowed ground for me, but it was weird because it taped at like 1 in the afternoon.
Yeah, I'm like, what's going on
I think they changed that because I've been to one taping forever ago, and it was when their old studio was, I think, in Midtown, and they did tape like at night. So
Yeah, I think they do some of them. Like last night, I think the Kyle Richards, Teddy, Freddie
was live.
Mellencamp, as I call her, I
Yeah.
think that was
Yeah.
live. I think they pick their battles, and then
I
I
do
think
too.
they do a couple in a day because I know they're pre-taping a lot for BravoCon next week.
They're
Right.
turning them out.
But it was. Did you see any Jax do anything weird in between commercial breaks or anything?
The guy just loves the camera, and like I can't blame him. But the guy
pops.
just
He pops on camera.
he just loved, he was on. Everything he did, even when he introduced himself, it was like, hey, it's all just, it's too much. But I loved it. I loved it.
And people
Did
are
you-
loving that villain show.
I
right?
gotta tell you, I like the villain show too. The first episode I was kind of like, I don't know. And then by the second episode, I was like, okay, I do enjoy the premise. I do, it's like Winter House on Bravo right now, where it's like, I don't mind seeing the off season of these characters on other shows. You kind of get it. Like we just have Schwartz appearing on at the very end of Winter House. In the second episode, we see more of his full story. And it's nice to kind of fill in the blanks to see how he's feeling sorry for himself on a different show.
Okay.
I'm okay on the Tom Sandoval. Like, why did I keep seeing all these memes? Why did I keep
Wow, I was
seeing
like,
all
what are
these memes?
memes?
No. It's where he was like pooping or something and like crying about it. Have you seen these memes?
Yeah, he's on Fox's Special Forces,
Yeah.
and he took I think Page Six quoted it as an emotional poop, which all of my poops are emotional. But Tom
Always.
was like, "Dude, nobody understands, dude. It's so my life." But it's so funny because all of these people, especially once they get into the reality star realm, they start losing their brains in a sense where they
Losing
like
touch?
Tom said, he goes, my PR person has never seen anything like this. Like she's never seen this perfect storm happening. And I'm like, what about the thing that you did that got you there? Like if you are in the public eye and you do something idiotic, expect us to cause an uproar. That's what you want, kind of.
Yeah, exactly.
Isn't that theoretically low key kind of the best thing that could have happened to all of them?
Including Tom. He just has to be a villain. He just has to be a villain now instead of a hero. And I think that's what upsets him.
Yeah.
Like,
Totally.
okay, Tom, what? We're not Jesus Christ reincarnated. You're Tom Sandoval.
Oh God, wouldn't it be crazy if Jesus Christ actually is like Team Sandoval? He's like, dude, Ariana, man, pins and batteries. I don't know why she didn't stock them.
I did see some meme and it was like, wouldn't it be sad if Jesus came back? Like nobody would believe him. They would just be like, no, you're not. You're not him.
He would like imagine.
He'd be in prison.
Oh God, I'm gonna get canceled. Like I was like, imagine Jesus on the Golden Bachelor. Like imagine.
Wait, but are you watching?
Love the Golden Bachelor. Are you ladies watching?
Yes,
the Golden? Isn't
love.
Gary? If somebody tells me a bad thing about Gary, I'm gonna lose my mind. If he
No,
turns out to
honestly.
be a bad guy.
The way that, okay, so on our podcast, Natalie and I often have things to say about The Bachelor and Bachelorette. We feel a type of way. Not this year. Not Gary.
No.
Well, what do you mean? What normal way do you usually feel?
We are just like goodbye,
just
good
over
night,
it.
good
Like,
day,
this is
sir.
dumb.
We're done. Yeah,
Yeah, it's almost like it's like doing jury service, jury
Yeah.
duty, watching
How
certain
many-
seasons of The Bachelor.
bartenders from Santa Monica can we watch go on for love? Like I don't care. I don't. And this, whoever's idea this was, oh my God.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
And
I love it.
He's just like the sweetest man, and
he
he's
talks
so
with he's like,
endearing.
I love that
Yes.
about you. It's like such a
yeah. Like when
a
he
small
dances.
voice, but like he means it about every lady. He's like, that's magnificent. He makes you believe in love, and the ratings are spectacular because I think people do genuinely want to see people that have actually experienced love in their past and where they're at now. To me, I think that's a gold mine of an idea because I would much rather watch people that have loved and lost than just are cheating on each other and drinking a lot.
Totally.
What the Golden Bachelor reminds me of is like the first 2 seasons of Real Housewives of Atlanta, or maybe the first season of The Bachelor, where it's like people are on TV, but they're not on TV to be on TV. You know what I mean? Like they're really filming, like they want something out of this. And I think it comes across as so genuine. Whereas like, I think we discussed on our podcast with you, like I'm rewatching Atlanta from the beginning, and Sarah always says it's like the OG seasons of these franchises are the best because it was kind of before all of this stuff. You know what I mean? All of the social media, all of the...
I mean, like the stuff that got created because of these shows, it's its own ecosystem now, as opposed to what we were. That's why I think The Golden Bachelor kind of breaks that mold where you're like, oh, wow, this is something new that we haven't seen. And nothing would make me feel worse if like 3 years from now, Gary is like the bartender on Bachelor in Paradise. Like I want this to be like in its own little bubble and for him not to be attacked on all sides. The only thing about The Golden Bachelor I did find funny is that two of the women so far, one of the women went on and her daughter had just had a baby, and then one was missing their daughter's wedding, I think. What? I mean, to me, that was like, guys, even Gary was like taken aback. He was like, what? Your daughter's
Gary doesn't
married?
like that. Gary shouldn't like that.
Don't do that to Gary.
No.
Gary's like, that's a red flag. Get out. Stage right, Donna. Like, come on.
Oh, and the Kathy of it all. I mean, if you guys aren't keeping up, I don't want to spoil it, but Kathy shows you that there's still those type of people that you see in Bachelor and Bachelorette, if that makes sense.
We said, you know what's the craziest part about watching Golden Bachelor is that, we've all, Natalie's in her 20s, I'm in my 30s. We all know those
Stop
girls,
bragging,
right?
you guys. My God.
We know those girls, right? Like the girls that you're always kind of like, you're interesting. Now we get to see those girls as 50
They don't
and
change.
60 they don't change.
It's
And
a
that's
cautionary tale.
glorious.
It's like, you got to be careful. You're going, and Kathy is so fun to watch, but at the same time, you were like, oh my God, how does Kathy live her daily existence outside of cameras? And you realize it's probably the same way.
Yes.
Yeah,
Yeah.
100%. 100%.
Yeah.
I know what her friends look like. I know how they act. I know where they're going to lunch. I know everything about them.
It's great. It's great.
Listen, don't be a Kath. I mean, Kathy's great. I'm sure she has so many winning qualities, but it was really fun to watch Gary even maneuver when the ladies started kind of little light bickering. Like, I don't want there to be trouble here. That's
He is Winnie the Pooh. He's literally Winnie the Pooh.
He's like, I want my honey. When he was scared to drive on the freeway in Los Angeles, I was like, that, I was like, I've never seen that on a Bachelor because they're always so like, I drink creatine and protein powder shakes. Like this Gary was like so scared. And then what's her name put her arm around him and he was like, I needed that. Thank you.
He's literally Winnie the Pooh.
I can't wait to watch it again tonight. Like I'm so excited because to me that reinvigorates this franchise. And
Completely.
my dad is 75 years old. Really,
young.
but a young 75. And now, unfortunately, like my mom passed and I'm like, could I get Bill Bailey on The Golden Bachelor? But then I was like, I think he would overdrink the first night and it would just be a whole different situation.
That's another element is you're watching it and like I can't help but think about my mom. I'm like, oh my God, Syl would have 2 martinis thinking like, but all of a sudden it's 5 a.m. and my mom would be like bitching because she's tired and she's hungry and now the hangover's kicking in. Like,
I don't want to do this. How about them all sleeping in those rooms? Like, come on. Could we not have given them?
It's cruel.
Like they have they've reached their expiration date on like sharing rooms with girls. We all get out of it after like a bachelorette. I feel like it's like everybody's last hurrah. We don't need to do that anymore.
I mean, I love that they literally drop a menopause joke in the first episode. They're like, nobody can get pregnant here. I'm like, wow, that's amazing. But I like that because to me, it gives legs to these reality shows that we love and want to keep going. Now, in terms of men and men that I very much dislike, you guys cover the Kardashians, and I do that on my Patreon. But I will say it is such a divisive family in the sense that I love talking about the Kardashians, and I love this season because I think we are in cuckoo bananas territory because they are so wealthy and still trying to be relatable. But I love talking about it, but so many people dislike them that it's like you're trying to get them on board about why this is fascinating. What is your take this season on Kardashians, and why is Tristan Thompson still so flipping horrible to me?
No. I can't.
Well, I can. 24 hours a day, 7 days a week.
Do it. Unleash.
I think that this season is great because it's great for us viewers. And I feel like we're really, really seeing like the fourth wall in all of this. Like we're seeing like Chris
now looks at the camera too much. She's Jim Halpert from The Office. She's always like, right, you guys?
She is
right?
literally, she thinks she's on The Office.
Yeah. I mean, they told her once to look into the camera, and now it's all she does, and she thinks she's being like cute, funny.
Like, it's sad because I think that the reason why this season is so good, I'll say, is listen, who hasn't fought with their family? Who doesn't have a family quarrel or a family drama or go through seasons of family issues? And so, like you just said, they have so much money, but they're trying to be relatable, and they're relatable because they're fighting. And it's like we've all fought with siblings, but I took a Kardashian break because I was at a point where it's like it's all I'm seeing on my feed. It's all I'm seeing in the paparazzi. It was a lot of like what Taylor and Travis are doing now, and I needed a break. So I took a break. But I mean, we love them and we've always loved them. And I honestly, like, I just hate Tristan. I call him turtleneck on our podcast because the guy loves a turtleneck and I don't trust men in turtlenecks. Like, you live in LA? Why are you always in a turtleneck? Like, enough.
Somebody told me to look good in it once, and now like Chloe or Chris told me to look good in it. Now it's
probably
all he wears. He's Trash Can Thompson. Like I've always warned the audience, stop sleeping with Tristan Thompson. He can't help himself. He doesn't wrap it up. He's only a good father to the kids that are like Kardashian related. Yep. And I just think the fact that I screamed at the screen last week when Kris Jenner was like, it's just going to be a shame if he moves on, Chloe. I was like, how flipping manipulative and what a mind fuck that is for Chloe to potentially hear. And also, I think we're getting the wool pulled over our eyes. I think they are together. I think he doesn't leave the house. And I think they're like slowly breaking this in. And by the end of the season, it'll be like, we're back together.
To this point, I feel like why I'm especially liking this season is because we saw a taste of it, I think last week, where Chloe was kind of going in on Kris because Kris just keeps asking, well, how do you think Tristan's going to feel? How do you think it's going to... She's like, how about me? Nobody has ever once asked me about me. And I like it because I feel like they're letting some things slip. Like, we know these people so well and they've been on our screens for so long that, like, I guarantee you they've really never had that sit down like, Chloe, are you okay? Unless it was televised and unless they had the like family meeting that they did without Chloe. And I feel like they're showing some things, and it's like Kris getting Tristan a job on ESPN.
Kris, by the way, if you want success in life, cheat on one of the Kardashian women and you will be taken care of, because Kris has rewarded Tristan for cheating.
It's insane.
You'll be taken care of by their their mother.
I, as a mother to daughters, let me tell you what goes down in the situation where my daughter's husband, has a baby with another. Let me just tell you what happens. I'm a Scorpio and it involves a knife, okay?
Yes.
It doesn't involve me. Like,
keep that energy. That's what we need. I want Kris Jenner how she is in these business deals, because we don't see that where she is like one of the best business people in the world. I want that Kris Jenner. You mess with my daughter, you never work again in this town. Why does she reward these men?
Why? It's so respectable as a mother. I mean, if we could just get Kris in one or two scenes, I don't care. But you know what? Now that I'm going on this rant, it's like, what about Scott? Scott and Courtney.
Hey, I'm just happy to be filming you guys.
Totally.
I'll tell you what hurts. I feel bad for Scott.
He did to Courtney, and then he celebrated. It started way back.
They're trying to hook him up with a new woman, and he's not even ready for a relationship.
On such a fake scenario that would have maybe worked in season 2 or 3. But
you know what? Scott's always good for those fake. He wants to be on the show, so he's always good for those fake scenarios, whether it be the Art Vanderlei stuff or like he's good. You can put him in a scene with a mime like Kris Jenner used to do, and like he can make those fake scenes kind of work because you like Scott. He's kind of funny. He can make those fake scenes work. But this show has moved past fake scenes, so when you see a fake scene like that, it really sticks out in your head.
Yes.
I think Scott, it seems like in a very, very troubled place right now, just based off of the saturation switch by when you see what saturation you see on your screen when he's filming, and then they flip to something else. I think they're editing the lighting to maybe make him look tanner, and like the amount of makeup that's caked on his face. To me, it's like, okay, this is sad, and like something's actually happening with him. Like, why are we trying to force it? Like Scott has like maybe outrun his, or like the shtick is over for me.
The light seems to have gone out of his eyes a little bit, and I've noticed that with I use myself. Like sometimes I just feel like I'm not lit from within, and right now Scott does not seem like the normal Scott, and that of course is bothersome. But I sometimes wonder if like Chris is the best thing to put him on camera, like, and if you really do care, like Chloe, hook him up with your back doctor when he got into the accident, not like a year later when the Hulu show's involved.
Yeah. And like the dating scenario, when he was on the date with the girl, that actually did seem it was just so uncomfortable. He's like, I could see us being friends. It's just like, what are we watching?
She's like, I need you to be my life coach. All right.
Yeah.
It's so crazy. And then she goes, she was the one that said, do you want any kids? She's like, 5 to 10, which is like a really varied number of a lot of kids. And then she's like, or 1 to 5. And I was like, pick a lane, man. And I don't think Scott's going to have 10 kids at this point with anybody.
No. But I think we saw a little glimpse of Penelope, and I think Penelope seems like keeping that family in check, and it makes me really sad too for Penelope.
Yes, I mean, you can tell it's that relationship we see in a lot of movies where the younger daughter takes care of the father, and you can see how that's going to play out. Mm-hmm. And I've always said about Penelope, she seems like she's potentially one of those people that can communicate with the other world. Like she knows something that we don't. She's always like, why? She's like, I see dead people. She seems so like, you know what I'm saying? Like North is always running around, and Penelope is like, look behind you. That's a ghost from 1935. Like she just seems like that person.
That is so spot on.
It's so accurate.
We talk about also. It's like, okay, imagine Chris as your mom. Imagine her as your grandma. Like what?
Mm-mm.
Like
well, she's asking these kids to fill out like W-2 forms. Like they're like all little revenue stream. Like, oh, my little revenue streams. Come give Grammy a kiss. And by the way, I'm not mad at that. If I mean, like. Come give Lovey a kiss. Here's $1,000. I mean, these kids come out of the womb with $1 million already in the bank. Yeah. So I'm not mad at that. But I always think about the future because I don't think they have any signs of slowing down. But it's scarier in the sense that we're now in the $1 billion category. Yeah. They're hanging out with Lauren Sanchez and Elon Musk and all of these people. I mean, Kim now, her business acumen, she's into like, she's like with the sky. I mean, she's getting into investment banking and things. Yeah. And I'm like, you guys don't even know those kind of moves. Like, even if she takes a dip in terms of like pop culture celebrity, she will be none of those, they're never going away at this point, ever.
I almost feel like they're so rich and they've done everything that it's like, what could we do now? Kylie has a clothing brand, which low key, like I'm excited about. Like,
but then did you see the thing today where she was already being called out for stealing designs for the brand?
So that's the thing is,
I gotta say,
Betsy Johnson, but not the Betsy Johnson that we all know, but a different Betsy Johnson.
They're at that level though, where that is only going to get worse. So it's like, they can keep trying to do these things, but it's like they're just going to get attacked, whether it's you stole this or you copied this or you used this without it's just kind of like, I don't know.
Like Hailey Bieber had that happen too with Rhode. I will just say this though, fashion to me, it's like, it's fair game. I mean, you can have a knockoff coat on, Look at Steve Madden's shoes right now. He has identical knockoffs to these Celine shoes. It's fair game. We're all on social media. Everybody's doing the dupe. Go on Amazon. It's a dupe. It's a dupe. It's a dupe.
I shop at Old Navy exclusively, so they do not steal. Old Navy is where it's at, folks. They do not steal.
And true.
You better keep that safe because soon enough,
of course,
Penelope or Mason's going to have.
I don't want the word to get out, but a little place called Old Navy.
No,
trust
Chris
me.
is going to come in and they're going to. Wait for the crossover. It's going to be Penelope or Mason X Old Navy.
I used to troll Old Navy on Twitter, and I would be like, are you guys dropping a Yeezy line anytime soon? That was back when I was still liking Kanye. But it's interesting. You know what I was thinking? Wouldn't Gary from The Bachelor be a good person for Chloe potentially if he would date younger? Like somebody that was truly kind and here for Chloe.
I don't think he'd know what to do with that in the bedroom.
Whoa.
Wait. Why does Chloe have? See, that's the other thing. Why does Chloe even have to be good in the bedroom? Not that she isn't, but like I feel like those are like it's like their beauty standards, like the unrealistic beauty standards they set for women. It's like they also set unrealistic sex standards for women as well. Like, why can't Chloe just be vanilla in the bedroom and still be okay?
Maybe she is. Who knows?
I need to really sit and think about this. Who would be good for Chloe?
We know nobody comes Chloe.
To my
Who?
Somebody who is who doesn't have a blue check mark, who has a fat bank account, and maybe doesn't speak English.
Yeah, like give a finance guy. Like
let's go overseas.
A barstool. Wait, what about Dave Portnoy? What about like Did you guys remember that episode? It was back when it was on E still, and they took her with MJ and Chris to like a sporting goods store, and then he was like, "You want to date my daughter, Chloe?
Yeah.
Could you imagine? Like, it's gonna date somebody from like a Staples or something, you know?"
Because Kevin, that's working the register, is gonna be able to hold up to their standards.
I mean, Chris said in the past, or like last week's episode, she was like, everybody has a crush on Chloe. The cameraman has then why don't we encourage those people to go for Chloe and not the guy that's publicly cheated on her multiple times and had a kid with somebody? Like, I just don't understand that logic, how you can have everything in the world and still be a participant in some of the dumbest thought processes known to man.
I'll tell you why. I know the answer to that question because I'm a genius. No, it is a control thing. For Chris, it is a control thing. So if she is not picking out who these girls are going to be with, she wants to be able to control who these girls have had a history with or who they might have a potential part 2 future with. You know what I mean? It's the same reason like...
Yeah, she's never going to let Kanye happen again. She's like, not on my watch. No more.
She's never going to let that happen again only because he came out and said what he said, but she would have continued it.
Yeah. Well, if he had played ball a little bit, and by the way, I mean, if he had actually done what he needed to do to actually be mentally stable. Yes. But I mean, it is just fascinating. And then for Kim, you know, like she's always pointing out, like she's doing these special moments for her family and for her children, which I think are amazing. But it's like, you know, for a 5-year-old boy, like you buying a soccer team, is that going to like, it just,
can we?
It's wild. It's just truly wild.
I'm so annoyed. I'm so happy you just brought that up. Okay. When Kim took Saint to the soccer game, and Saint is, you forgot my jersey. This is the worst day ever. Crying. Kim, this is a great moment because you are being filmed to sit down with Saint and say, knock it off. You're going to complain and be a spoiled brat. We're going home. You know how well that would have gone over? No, seriously. People would be like, okay, at least she parents her kid. She's like, okay, do you want like a croissant? Like,
no, wouldn't that be shocking if Kim spanked Saint on camera? Like, I mean, wouldn't you just be shocked? Like, holy shit, Kim just spanked Saint. Like, I would be shocked, but instead she's like taking him to Paris on a private jet with his buddies, and then talking about the Manny that is like for the male influence. She hired a Manny.
If I ever spoke like that in front of my parents when they did something for me, it would be like my parents taking me to the Taylor Swift concert. I want the first row, not the. These are horrible. I would be literally probably spanked. Like,
oh my God. My sister, I remember this in the 80s, for kids of the 80s, my sister got a Cabbage Patch doll. They used to be all the rage. Like, it was like the toy to get. And my grandma bought my sister a Cabbage Patch doll, but it wasn't the right Cabbage Patch doll. And we got to open one gift the night before Christmas, and that was the one she opened, and she threw the biggest fit. And I have never seen my dad as angry as that night of like, how dare, like, do you know I grew up and I got just underwear for Christmas? Like, you know, like it was a moment I will never forget. And these kids, like, you forgot my red jersey. And she's like, I'll buy you a soccer player.
Yes. And it makes me hang out because Messi? I feel like Natalie said, like, that was such a moment where we all could have been like, she's human.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it is weird because they keep trying to let us know that they're human, but they're almost like cosplaying actual humans. So it's always like, oh, is this AI? It's like sort of weird. It doesn't really, because how could you be normal at this point? How could you be normal?
Yeah, no. And I totally get that. And again, I mean, that's why we're watching, but I have to believe in my heart, I really do have to believe that they're all good moms. Like, I really do think they are good moms.
Yeah, they love their kids, obviously.
I think they parent differently. And I think, okay, do you remember that Vanity Fair thing that went viral? And they didn't show it on the show, but where Kourtney said to Khloe, "Are you ever going to let True spend the night at my house?" And Khloe said no.
Oh, it was the lie detector
Lie
test.
detector.
They showed like a little bit of it, but they didn't show that question. Yeah.
Like, I need more on that. Like,
Well,
why
those are the
are
things,
we
and that's
not-
why Kourtney almost seems like a freedom fighter, like breaking away from the Kardashians. And Kourtney has her own issues, but it is so real that it's a palpable tension between her and Kim this season. But it even spilled over into Kim's 43rd birthday. The Instagram story didn't even post a story that Kourtney put out for Kim's birthday of like, we fight a lot. Nobody can even see how much we fight. If they only knew. Anyways, love you. And it was kind of like positive, but kind of still, you could just feel the tension within the post.
Yep.
100%.
Speaking of Hailey Bieber, you actually just brought up to her, what is it? Her makeup? Road. Sorry, I'm a guy. And,
Yeah.
I was just reading the Cut article about Hailey Bieber. Why can't she just be bloated? Because there was these pregnancy rumors and she was like, listen, I'm just bloated. And I will say it's interesting in this day and age for people that are so successful when you have those moments where you do feel bad for celebrities, where you're like, oh, this is a very real moment for Hailey. And you kind of sense like, oh, they probably potentially are having issues. And it's got to be weird because when I'm going through my worst, thankfully, I mean, a couple people do the podcast, but I thankfully don't have thousands of people commenting on it every day. And I just wonder, you're just got to be constantly tense.
Yeah, it's giving Jennifer Aniston all of the 90s and 2000s. Like, you know how everyone was always commenting on her being pregnant and she was never pregnant, and come to find out she was struggling the whole time. And I think that it's a very relatable, you know, in today's day and age, we're a lot more open about like struggling, or are you going to get pregnant? Are you not going to get pregnant? Do you want kids? Do you not want kids? And yeah, but like also like not me thinking like, when has she ever been bloated? Like that's me every day. She's bloated.
Totally.
Like, that's what I look like.
That would be the best day of my life if I ever had a bloated stomach. Like Hailey, I'd be like, what?
Just post a mirror selfie if my stomach looked like her bloated. I'd be like, hello.
Yeah, look at, we did it. But it is interesting. You know, and it's also interesting in terms of celebrity culture now is, do you monetize off your struggles? Do you monetize? And we see the Kardashians do this a little bit, but it goes into your favorite influencers. It goes into opening up about your personal struggles, but then you notice people monetizing off of that, whether it be mental health or anything. And I find what an interesting thing, because that wasn't the case 20 years ago. I mean, mental health really wasn't even spoken about the way and given kind of the respect, a little bit more of the respect it's given now. But I find that a fascinating trend of you can monetize these things that you feel horrible about.
Completely. You are completely correct.
I do feel like a lot of it, though, is a PR team of 25 coming in in suited up.
That's what scares me. That's what scares me.
You messed up. Now we're going to put you on this commercial because you're going to be So it's a very like slippery slope, I think, because is that just going to solve everything? Like, I don't know if you're watching American Horror Story.
I started watching it, and then all of a sudden it just disappeared from my mind. And I said it on the show this week. I was like, is that show's still on? Why don't I hear about it anymore?
Well, so they had to stop filming, I think, because of the strike. So I don't think we're getting a completed season. It low key got good, but Emma Roberts does this thing where she messes up. She pukes over herself on the Oscar night. And then Kim Kardashian, who plays her PR crisis manager, is like, okay, you're doing this commercial. And they spend 5 minutes on this commercial. And she's like, yeah, I'm a woman. I throw up sometimes. What do you do? Like, so they're doing what we're thinking, which I appreciated. But
what's that, Sarah?
No, I was just, I mean, it's something, I mean, something about it like kind of scares me though. Like when we like kind of capitalize off, or not, I say we, but like when we see someone kind of like capitalize off their struggles, like I don't know why the karma like kind of scares me, but like maybe they're not thinking of the karma, but I am, I'm scared of that.
Well, I mean, it's not a brave new world, but it is an interesting thing is that we don't know where pop culture is going to go next. And I keep thinking about like how we used to have movie stars, and our movie stars aren't the same. Like we're not going to have the Tom Cruises and the Brad Pitts, and even like the, you have Roberts. The Chalamet, maybe you have but at the same time, it's just not the same because everybody is making a movie 24/7 on their phones now. And TikTok will always now win over a movie theater, or YouTube will win over your natural TV set. And I find that such an interesting thing to ride that wave, when I've always said like America's greatest export is entertainment. But my God, I wish it would slow down sometimes. because you're seeing all these personal stories and it's inspirational, but I sometimes love old media, which they used to call just like newspapers and magazines, but now old media to me is actual scripted television shows.
Like the fact that we would get our news from an Us Weekly
I
or
long
a
for
People.
I long for the
Like-
day of just getting a hard copy Us Weekly
Same.
in my mailbox.
People,
Like,
the cover of People, like who's going to be on the cover and what is it? Oh my God.
It used to be a huge deal if you were on the cover of People
Yeah,
revealing a very
huge.
secret thing. Now it's
Huge.
Call Her Daddy that you're going to reveal it on.
Right.
And then maybe a People, but you won't even really think of it as a People exclusive. It's weird how we digest this information, and it's weird who we make stars. And I think that's why shows like yours and mine, like we're there to kind of like sift through all of this stuff that we love, but there's just so much coming at you at all times.
And like, it's a way for like, you know, you and your listeners and us and our listeners. People are like, how should I feel about this? They're like, honestly, I don't care what you guys talk about. I just need to know, how am I supposed to digest this and how am I supposed to feel? And so I think that, yeah, to your point, it's like, I mean, who are we kidding? We're just doing the good Lord's work. We're just spreading the word. But yeah. No, I
Well, I
long
mean,
for those days.
Speaking of that, like how should we feel how should we feel about the Britney Spears book that came out this week? You know, I mean, it came out. Oh, she's holding it. Sarah's got her copy.
I finished it.
Okay, so I hear it's a really quick read in the sense that you don't want to put it down. My library says I'm almost in line for the audiobook. It's almost going to come to me, but I'm going to go out and buy the hard copy today to read on the plane tomorrow. And how should we feel about this book? Because I've read I think I've read the entire book on Twitter so far.
yeah.
Let me clear my voice. So I'm a Britney apologist. She was my era. She is me. I am her. I just grew up. I'm from Texas. She's that small town, Louisiana, singer, dancer, that whole thing. So I grew up absolutely idolizing this woman, idolizing her.
Yeah.
Watching it all go down, you know, the 2000s, what a great time in pop culture, right? Because it was like, we're getting paparazzi shots. They're kind of close, but there's no social media. You know, Nicole Richie's acting a fool. Lindsay Lohan's out here doing it. It was a great time. So I remember living all these moments in my little mind, right? 14, 15, 16 years old. I don't know what's been going on the last 15 years, but it's scary. No doubt about that. Whatever's happening. I don't follow her on Instagram because I don't want to see that version, you know. I don't want to hurt with her, but I love the book. I really do. And I
don't you hurt with her reading the book? Because I hear it really goes into just truly how insane the conservatorship was, on top of the whole Justin Timberlake situation and all of that stuff.
But to me, something about her social media presence and reading her words, and like I was telling Natalie, I'm like, because Natalie is kind of like, what's going on with the book? Did she? And I'm like, Britney wrote this book. It is. I don't know how to explain it, but she wrote it. You know, it is Britney.
I just
Very
don't.
plain and simple.
Wait, Natalie, it seems like Natalie has what Natalie just went, I just don't. What is that thought?
No,
She thinks
I
she has
just-
an ick about it.
I just have
About
a
the
really
book.
big about the whole thing, about the guy that's helping her write it. I guess they did it over email.
It
And
was Sam Lasky, I believe his name is, who's a
Yeah.
really good writer. I mean, I really like
Yeah.
his writing, but that's,
I don't doubt that it's made up, but I fear that she gave him an inch and the publishing company is going to take it a mile.
But
And is she actually getting this money? And to be completely honest, this might get me canceled. I would rather have her book when we can see that she is of sound mind and is at her peak. She's like, I'm back. I'm going to go talk about this on the Today Show. I'm going to be on the cover of this. I'm going to do that.
well, I mean, we don't want a Jada Pinkett Smith situation where
what
she's
I
there for
said.
5
I'm
days.
like, but
We don't
I
want her
think-
all week on the Today Show,
know.
you know, like
Jada Pickett was thrust upon us. Nobody asked. I feel like people would ask for this. I feel
But
like
what
I
you'll
would love
learn-
to see Britney sit down in an interview nowadays and be like,
what you
hey,
learn in the
let's
book,
talk about this.
She doesn't trust anyone. She talks about Diane. So she talks about how these people were so cruel to her. I mean, this is a 17-year-old girl. We're asking, are you a virgin? This is a mom, you know.
No,
and
I
so-
don't doubt that. I don't doubt that.
I
and I
think
agree
to
that
answer
it
you-
was sad. She just
she just has trust issues, and the book will explain. And that's what I was telling Natalie. I'm like, it is dark, but it explains a lot.
Well, what worries me though is that I don't think well, I don't.
It's a very
I think
slippery
some people.
slope.
Well, I think no. I mean, I've talked about this a lot. I think. It's like I was just worried if this was the right time for her to do any of this, because it
Right.
even, she reactivated on Instagram, said, y'all, it's okay. This is all long ago. I'm good now. I'm like, she's like, I'm like, well, you got to realize this is what happens when you write an autobiography. This stuff is all going to get dredged up again. And you are going to have to relive these moments. And that was like, I just hope the people around her are taking into account her mental state. And I also think because of mental health, it is one of those things is that, just having somebody that successful and going through what they've gone through, sometimes it takes decades. It's going to be a lifelong fight for Britney to ever get to a place where she is wanting or able to do a Morning with Hoda Kotb or anything like that. I get scared that I don't think we're ever going to see that.
That's what I was telling Natalie, because she was like, I just don't know if this was the right time to write the book. And I said, you know what? Unfortunately, I don't know if there's ever going to be a right time for her. You know what I mean? Like, I think that this is a battle, and I think it was therapeutic. I think it had to have been therapeutic. But I think when Jamie Lynn came out with that book, what was that, like a couple of years? I think I think Britney was like, you know what? Excuse me, but
is that what started all of that?
Well, I know they've always been after her to write a book, and then of course the conservatorship ended, and I'm sure that she was able to probably see more deals coming in her way. I would love to know, and that's what like being a Britney fan is. I would love to know who is like, where's the money coming in? Where's the bank? Is the bank accounts all protected? Like, because she talks about in the book how much her dad made, or, he made like $6 million during the Blackout album, which is more than she even made. Like the conservators, what they were paying themselves, all of this money, like she could only eat chicken and vegetables, which by the way, if you're going for a Hailey Bieber stomach, great, but she didn't have choices even in the basic things of what she would eat. And that kind of shit is horrifying to me. I just wish that we knew that the people behind all of this really do have her best interests at the end of the day.
Right. Like, who is sitting at home with her now that her and Sam are broken up or whatever? Like, is she alone in that house? I don't know. It's just, there's so many questions that I have, and just, you know how badly I want her to just come out one day and be like, I'm back and I'm here, and maybe she is. I don't know her. I don't know what's going on in her life.
I mean, I want that for myself as well. Like, listen, I think we all want to be okay. I think Britney represents something so much to all of us that we want her to be okay, because if she can be okay, maybe we can be okay. And like, I think it's the one of the best and worst things about pop culture is that you fall in love with these people when you're younger and you have some sort of ownership over them because they made you feel so good. They made you feel so good. So you want things, you want that happy ending that you see in movies and even the songs that we listen to.
Amanda
you want
Bynes.
That. I mean, Amanda Bynes is another one.
I grew up on her, and I'm like, seeing photos of her like physically makes me like sick. I'm like, I mean,
Lindsay Lohan, Paris Hilton, all of these people. Now we watch 20 years later what has happened. I always talk about that experience of feeling like I was like, did I just fall asleep for 15 years and waking up, and now we're seeing the aftermath of all of this stuff?
It's crazy. I read the Paris book a couple months ago, and so now reading the Britney one, I for people who aren't Britney fans, you don't need to read it. Who cares? If you're not interested, you're not interested.
Britney, by the way, I want to say that.
What?
I said I just want to.
Natalie loves Britney.
Oh no, she was my first concert.
What I was gonna say is, if you don't read it. But if you are someone who likes her or is in has a sliver of interest, I say read it, because I mean, even the first couple chapters, she talks about her family history. Like, it goes back deep, like she's talking about her dad's dad and her dad's it's a lot. And I think that it brought insight. And then you just see that all she is just a broken little girl. That's all she is. Her dad was an alcoholic. Her mom was unhappy. Her mom tried to divorce her dad years before Britney was born. She's finally able to just tell, this is what's happening. Word vomit.
Yeah.
She's finally just able to say it.
Well, I mean, I can't wait to read it, but I'm scared to read it. But I feel like I just, in today's culture, you've already seen half the book just because of page 6
like the
and
parts
things like
that they're telling you how she like didn't know, like, was she insinuating about Justin's what was happening?
No. The Justin's dong. You remember that? Okay, but that's not in the book. That was a joke that somebody put out and people ran with it on TikTok.
I hate the internet. I hate the internet.
That's what okay, see, I talked about this on Monday's show. I'm so pissed. There is this one thing that somebody put out on their Twitter going, quote from Britney's book, he entered me and all I could think of was massive disappointment. And then people were making TikTok videos about it and passing it around as fact. Guys, she reveals a lot about Justin in this book, but one of those things is not about his small wiener. I'm not saying he doesn't have a small wiener, but I'm saying that's not in the book. And that's so, I hate that about, that's what
I hate
it's
it.
like.
I'm so mad.
It's Twitter
I hate the
AI bullshit.
I hate the internet.
Oh, I truly do. Wait, finally, do you have 5 more minutes just to bring in Beverly Hills real quick? Real Housewives of Beverly Hills premiered this week. Did you guys watch it?
I did.
Sarah?
I did not. But
Okay,
I feel
well,
like
that's fine. You read the Britney book. You did. Okay, so Sarah, Natalie, what were your overall thoughts on the first episode?
Every single one of these women are going through a midlife crisis, and it is terrifying because I'm imagining myself in my 50s, whatever. We've got Kyle and Mauricio. Now we've got Dorit and PK. Garcelle sitting on the beach with her son saying, I wish you were there for me more.
That was a very real moment. I thought that actually was a very real moment.
Very real moment.
Yeah.
But I'm just like, this is like suffocating me. Like, I'm so scared, like, to get older and to like have these real issues. Like, literally.
Get ready. Buckle up. Yeah.
I know. But Erica, I thank you, Dorit. Thank you. When Erica said it's her hormones. And Erica's like, is it hormones or is it spelled
Ozempic? It's Ozempic. Yeah, like I loved it. PK
Kyle,
eating chips at the very beginning stood out to me, fighting this cholesterol very bravely. Now, last night, Dorit, we have the Kyle Mauricio relationship that at the very end, Mauricio was like, love bean. It's enough with the tattoos. It's enough. And she's like, no, I'm feeling it is not enough with the tattoos. And then we have potentially this Morgan Wade friendship or whatever it is. But then last night we get all these rumors and I don't necessarily believe this yet. Is that PK and Dorit are potentially separated or have separated. They already went on the offensive or defensive and said, hey, this isn't, we're working through our marriage, but we're not at that point. I just knew not to post anything about it yet because a lot of nobody reputable was posting in terms of news outlets. So I was like, let's wait and see. I'm sure they are going through issues, but it's wild that pops up now.
Wild. But it's also, of course, timing, because you see the conversation between Kyle and Dorit's talking about when PK was in London too much and they were like so we're like planting that seed, and it's sad, but like Kyle, I really truly think that reunion effed with her so much that she had like a reawakening, and I feel bad for Kyle. I know the type of mom Kyle, Kim, and Kathy had. I know she's the baby. She's going to be scared. Her sister's Kathy Hilton. Like, she's finally, I feel like, waking up, and it's like, I'm not doing this. I'm not going to be like your little puppet anymore. And I feel like with that self-discovery, then we go to Mauricio and then the Dancing with the Stars stuff.
Yeah. I mean, but it's hard to do that self-discovery when you are in a reality show or a public eye, because
100%.
We hop onto that self-discovery immediately. Like, what are you doing? You're wearing torn jeans a lot. That's weird. Yeah. Okay. I mean, by the way, in the Paris Hilton book, they talk about the Hiltons a lot, about Big Kath and, the mom, and that talking about like the past and kind of understanding where these ladies are from, what an intense family the Hiltons are,
Yeah. And I didn't watch, but I've seen clippets of all the major things that are going on. And something that just kind of made me laugh was when Kyle's really sticking up for herself. Mauricio is so confused. He has no idea who this woman is.
He has confused face for most of the season in the preview. He's like, huh?
He's like,
he's
Kyle,
blinking
this is
a
what
lot.
we rehearsed. Like, what are you saying to me now?
What are you doing, Love Bean? Come on, please.
Love Bean.
What I'll say is, I'm gonna be really sad if this is a season of like sad. You know what I mean? Like, I like my housewife to be drunk and riled up and having a good time.
No,
I don't want to see everyone.
Sarah, you're right. It's going to be a sad season.
Listen, my mind is a shit show. My life is a shit show. I don't want to watch all these women marriages fall apart and these kids and now Sutton and can we just wrap it up? Like, let's just have some fun.
Well,
let's just laugh.
I was already watching that first episode. I had to watch it a couple of times for the show, and I was like, wow, I'm already exhausted. And this is the first episode of the season. It's like, by the way, that's the only thing I like on TikTok right now. All I watch is like chiropractic adjustments.
Oh,
like
yeah.
I'm like, that's my dream. I'm like, I don't even do TikTok really, but it's like the only goal to do TikTok is just so I can eventually visit one of these celebrity chiropractors because it looks like
somebody disembody me.
Like, could
I
you
need
see
to be
my
like-
number on my
I feel like the
C4?
bigger the crack, like it fixes your whole life potentially.
It's true. I love it.
Okay,
I-
Sarah and Natalie, they'll come back on if they're willing. We could have gone for like another 3
I know.
hours because there's so much going on. Causing a Scene is the podcast. What do you always do? You go subscribe, you check it out, you rate it 5 stars before you even listen to it because they were nice enough to come on and talk with us and spend time with us today. What do we have to look forward to in the podcast?
We've got a lot
yeah.
of this. We've
Who
had a
knows?
great guest. We have a great guest coming on next week. Is this airing this week?
No, I'm going to put it on next week.
Okay, so we have
BravoCon.
a great guest. We've had
We've had a lot of
week.
great guests. We had you.
Yeah.
You really have.
We have.
We've
It's been a great listen. It's been a great month to cause a scene. So just mosey on over. Do what you do.
Yeah.
Who's this great guest? Now I'm like, am I back
Jackie
on?
Oshry.
Oh, shit.
we love
That's a
Jackie.
huge guest.
We've had
Wow.
love
we've had
Jackie.
a lot of good. We had Vanessa from Real Moms of Bravo. We had
Yeah.
you. We had Danny Pellegrino. You know, if Britney would ever go on a book tour for her podcast, we'd have.
Could you
her.
imagine she's doing no interviews, but she just stops by one of our podcasts? Like, wouldn't that just blow people's minds?
I'd love it.
Well, it
But
happens.
anyways, you guys subscribe to this podcast. We are buds now, so I'm sure you'll be hearing them more on this, or maybe I'll go back on theirs. But we all
100%.
support each other, so that's what I
Yes.
love. But thank you, ladies, so much. I really
Thank you.
enjoy talking to you.
Thank you, Ryan. You're the best.
This was a blast.